Hey, this is Jim from Broadfield. Thanks for joining us for another Broadfield Liquid Lunch. We have a great show planned for you today. We actually did a live interview with Dan Miall from BirdDog last week, accommodating the time shift between the US and Australia. And since we did that production, BirdDog has announced that they have a US presence, introducing this guy right here on the pre-show with us is Dan Riegle, who is now VP of Sales in the US for BirdDog. Don, welcome.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks for having us.
Dude, we're happy to have you. There's a famous quote from Donnie Brasco where it's explained that sometimes you introduce someone as either a friend of mine or a friend of ours.
Friend of ours.
A friend of ours is a made man. So Don,
Right.
I got to introduce you as a friend of ours. You've been in this industry for a long time, and our history goes back almost 20 years. So I mean, why don't you give our dealers who maybe haven't known you for that long a quick introduction and let us know what you're doing here with BirdDog.
Well, hey, thanks, man. And I'm glad to be a friend of ours. In fact, I brought this relic, which is a blow-up of an original Broadfield business card that I was given in the late 90s on my first visit out to see you in Long Island, when Rich didn't even have his own business card, so he had to cross out his dad's name and write his name. But I love working with you guys, and I'm happy to be working with you guys again. Going all the way back to desktop video, you guys have really always had a real commitment to educating the channel, educating your customers. This is really where you've made your mark. You make good customers so that they can make good decisions. And all of the years we've worked together, we've always worked with the best possible lines that are available anywhere from manufacturers around the world. And I'm glad that I could join BirdDog now. Also old friends of mine. BirdDog making the world's best NDI hardware and software solutions.
Absolutely.
And with that, I can say that the best technology with the best partner is going to be a great combination.
Yeah, and that's why we're excited to present Dan to talk about all the new cameras, all the great new BirdDog technology, and everything you've got going. And what I love about having guests like you and Dan on a Broadfield Liquid Lunch is that I don't have to drink alone. So cheers, Don. What are you drinking today?
Well, because I'm on the Kentucky side of the river by Cincinnati, I brought our own local bourbon, which is Pogue Bourbon, very well-known bourbon in this area. And I'll be having a little bit of it on ice today, and I'll bring you a bottle when I come to see you here shortly.
I'm going to hold you to that promise. I'm a little upset that I don't have bourbon with me today. I do have another great beer out of the East Coast here. This is from Bristle Brothers, right out of Maine, and this is called Baby Genius. So without further ado, that's it for our pre-show. Don, we're going to have you on the show again in the future, getting into a little bit more detail, but I wanted to thank you for joining us so we could introduce you to our dealers today.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Cheers.
Cheers. And without further ado, let's bring Dan Miall from BirdDog. Welcome to another Broadfield Liquid Lunch every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Today we got a very special guest on the show with us, Dan Miall from BirdDog. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. This is great.
Dan is joining us from beautiful Australia. So we actually pre-recorded this episode in order to accommodate your time zone just a little bit, because if we took you in when we go live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, that would be an ungodly hour where if I know you, Dan, you probably wouldn't be awake, or if you were awake, you wouldn't be sober, right?
Well, that's the thing. You got to pick your times to make sure it makes some sense. So I think that'd be around 3 a.m. Friday morning. So that's not the best time to catch me. So.
Yeah, no, probably not. And anyone who's hung with us or hung with you at NAB, from our dealer standpoint, would know that all too well. So without further ado, let's talk about what I'm really excited to talk about, and that's the fact that these BirdDog cameras are now shipping. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is really exciting for us. We've got, as you can see, there's a lineup of 4 cameras. What many people may have seen is the P200 has been shipping now for a little while. And
in both black and white?
And in black and white, that's
yes.
Right. So we have the two kind of camera families. There's the P family, which stands for production cameras, and the
Yep.
A family, which is all weather. So on the production side of things, we've got the two cameras. The first one that shipped being the P200, and this has been fantastic. The reception that customers have had with it, the feedback as far as the image quality, the stability, just the overall experience has been great. So we're really excited, and we thought that was a great kind of platform to then launch the rest of the products. So the really exciting news this week is that we're shipping the rest of it. So so on the production side of things, the P100s are now shipping. So these guys they're an amazing camera at a price point that's just unbeatable. They've got a lot of the great stuff that we've been working on for years, which is the NDI on a chip, which is really our specialty. We've got the lowest latency, highest quality NDI going on a hardware chip, which is built into all of our cameras.
Right.
So this is full NDI, full high bandwidth NDI on a whole camera range. So starting at the P100, this thing's really stacked with features. It's got not only the NDI and power over Ethernet for a single cable, but we've also got SDI and HDMI as far as connections, so you can plug in any other screen or anything you like. A little note that you'll see there on all of these devices is BirdDog Comms capable. So BirdDog Comms is a bit of software that allows us to talk with a bunch of different devices and communicate. And you might wonder why we put that into a camera. Why would you want comms in a camera? And the reason for that is things like IFB, for example, where you can take the output of this and plug it into a headset like what you've got on and talk directly to your talent, rather than having to have a separate cable and all that kind of thing. So it's we're trying to integrate as many features as we can in all of our products. So P100 is, while it's a great price, it's by no means a cut down features product. So we're super excited about that, and we think it covers a lot of places, from house of worship to education to meeting spaces. Being a very small, kind of unobtrusive footprint, it can really fit into many different places. Image quality is great.
Absolutely. And Dan, you've touched on a few things that I really want to emphasize to our dealers who know BirdDog and know that you're putting that full NDI on a chip. That is the secret sauce that makes these cameras different. It's the full NDI technology across the entire product line. But now the new part of that is what you guys are doing on the software front. Or the BirdDog Studio and the BirdDog Mini converters now have both encode and decode capability. You've already touched on the BirdDog Comms, and now we're going to get into some of the BirdDog Cloud features and really talk about how you're taking this NDI ecosystem and really tapping into it as much as possible, giving our dealers the capabilities of offering a full production solution to their customers in any vertical with as few cables as possible. I mean, the idea that you can hook up one cable to a camera to enable your audio and video feed, your power over Ethernet, and now you're adding stuff like comms and other features back and forth, it is really a great testament to what the technology that you guys are developing over there.
Thanks so much, Jim. So from our perspective, we got really excited when NDI was announced. So BirdDog, to back up a bit, we actually started our company right on the back of NDI being announced. And it seemed like a really great technology to get video and audio over a computer network. And the reason why we did anything about it was because it just seemed like there's so many opportunities to add additional benefits to workflows, not just replace one cable with another by making a little throwdown box that converts SDI to NDI. What we wanted to do was build workflows, and that's what we're really excited about with all of our products kind of coming together now. So this software piece with comms, which is what I mentioned before, so we can talk and communicate amongst all of our camera operators and all of our production staff, is only a piece of it. We've also got our central software, which is fleet management, allowing you to control what decoders connect to what sources and things. So on top of making our hardware, which is, we're very proud of, they're the highest quality, lowest latency hardware devices out there. Really what we're about is joining that all up to make workflows for people and to get real benefit from AV over IP in general. In our minds, there's no point in just swapping an SDI or an HDMI cable out for an Ethernet one. You're only getting half the benefit.
No, that's great. And what I love about the Comms Pro 2 is we talked about all these different camera models that are shipping, but you guys are actually going to be shipping out your own headset for use with comms as well. I know that comms will work with pretty much any headset out there, and I imagine a good bunch of our dealers already have ones that they know and like. But what are some of the benefits of your headset? Why would you even go ahead and develop a product like this?
Yeah, again, it sort of comes back to our workflow kind of mentality, and with our products, they all work together. And a question that we consistently got asked is, with this headset, what can I use? What's the impedance? What's what can you work with? And of course, we can answer those questions, and by all means, use the headset that you like. We're very welcoming with that. The reason why we came out with our headset is there's a lot of institutions and places where they just want to get a headset that works well with the device, that's not particularly expensive, that kind of works well in an environment where a production's being made.
Sure.
So what we've done is these headsets are designed, they've got great noise isolation with the earmuffs that go on there, so you don't get a lot of background noise. You can really concentrate on what's being heard. It's got a great microphone in there for you to be talking back. But it's not just as simple as it seems. Inside here, we've actually got some extra technology, which is push to talk. So in these headsets, if you press and hold the push to talk button, it'll open up the microphone, so you can only open up that when you want to. Or you can double tap on it and it keeps the mic open. So they're not just a gaming headset or an iPhone headset or an Android headset. They're designed for production in the fact that they've got push to talk built into them. So we think they can go in a lot of different places, and they're an easy sell onto the BirdDog products, and then onto, if you're looking at selling Comms Pro, it kind of just adds in just that simple solution, which is again what we're about, is a solution.
Absolutely, and I know from our dealer's perspective, when they're rolling out a complete quote and a bid on a project, when you're offering a complete NDI bundle that you're outfitting a local stadium or something like that, and then you're showing up with your 12-year-old's PlayStation headset, it kind of takes away from that production look and feel. So by having the headset that is branded and optimized to work in the BirdDog NDI system really is a selling advantage that our dealers can now get super creative with different bundle solutions and different ways of setting up their bids and their quotes for the next production project. So great job there.
Thank you.
And then really the thing I wanted to spend quite a bit of time on today is the BirdDog Cloud. Dan, tell me a little bit about what Cloud is and what it's going to mean for the BirdDog products and for our dealers that are selling the NDI technology.
Absolutely. Well, we can spend as much time as you like on Cloud. There's a huge amount of places this can be used, and a huge amount of solutions it can help you with. But let's, I guess, start with the overall premise of what it is. As you mentioned, BirdDog's got a bunch of NDI solutions and a bunch of NDI products. The nature of NDI being an IP-based or a network-based solution is really designed around sending audio and video over your network, your local network. And that can be fairly large. It can be a facility where you can open up a video source from one side of the building to the other. But what it doesn't really cater for is multiple locations or going to a broader area. So what BirdDog Cloud introduces is the ability to send not only audio and video over the internet, there's quite a few things that can do that, but we actually send NDI over the internet. And by that I mean all the extra things that NDI gives you, the control, PTZ control, for example, tally lights, which allow you to see which cameras are live, our audio comm system, all of those bi-directional kind of bits of information that really make a production easy all flow over BirdDog Cloud over the internet. So if you've got a camera that's located in one location and a production in another, you can just connect to that camera, and it actually appears to the TriCaster or to the operator that's using that NDI as a local camera. You can control the camera, you can recall presets, you can use it as if it was a local camera, but it could be on the other side of the world. And I actually think we should try that next time we do a call. Maybe we should jump in and use BirdDog Cloud instead of we're using Skype TX today. So you can really see, you can take control of my cameras and act as if we're a secondary studio. So.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. I know our dealers would love to see a use case of the technology that way. And, they love hearing about the different applications where something like Cloud could really help them close their sales.
Yeah.
I know in a sporting environment, I can see this playing in if you're handling something that's over multiple venues, like the Special Olympics or something like that, where now you can set up these multiple production teams and still control them all from a central server.
Yeah, exactly. And there's we've tried to include as many different options and capabilities depending on what a customer might want to use. And so we have a bunch of options which I can see you've got a video kind of queued up there. It actually will it'll give you a bit of a view into some of the options in here. So it's not just about sending a camera from one location to another. That's great. But then we've got a bunch of other things. So I'll probably talk about that after you roll the video, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's roll that clip so our dealers can see what this is all about. Great job on the video. It's like a motion infographic, but it really does give a good representation of how cloud enables you to work across multiple cities, like we're seeing the setup in London, Moscow, and Tokyo with different people all over the world.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably worth watching it a couple of times. It's on our website. It'll give you a bit more information. But really, I suppose what it's trying to highlight is you can completely distribute your production. So on top of, like I was mentioning, sending NDI video from one place to another, you can send it to many locations, or you can receive from many locations. You can also do things like iPad monitoring with the technology of WebRTC. We can do multi-camera, a multi-viewer. So we can actually take a bunch of different NDI streams from one location, squeeze that into a multi-viewer, and then send that over the internet. So another location can be monitoring every single camera. That'll give you tally information and all sorts of stuff. Another thing that's really cool is the multi-stream capability. And this works really well. There's a lot of people now starting to explore remote productions.
Yep.
And by remote productions, we mean multiple cameras in one location and the switching and the production being done in another location. Where the multi-stream option comes in really well with BirdDog Cloud is everything we do works on an SRT connection. So SRT is sending a secure encrypted connection from one location to another. But we do some really fancy stuff where we can send multiple NDI streams down a single SRT connection. And where that's really important is that keeps everything in sync. So if you've got 4 cameras, 8 cameras, whatever they are, you can send them all down a single pipe, which is encrypted over the internet, and make sure at the other end, they all remain in sync. And that's a really hard thing to do over the internet. So by doing it this way, you can actually realize this multi-camera production remotely while keeping everything directly in sync.
That's awesome. I think what I'm most excited about with the BirdDog Cloud is I know that once a tool like this, which is kind of revolutionary and new in the industry, gets out into our dealers' hands and they start talking to their customers, we'll start seeing some unique applications that we may not have even thought of once they start getting this out there into the real world.
Absolutely. We've been really astounded by what people go, hey, this is fantastic. We can use it for all sorts of things. One quick note is that there's actually a free trial version of this. So you can go to our website and download a free trial. It's completely unlimited as far as features. It just has a watermark on there. So if people wanted to try out some weird and wacky workflow, they can go for it, and we're here to help them.
Oh,
but
cool.
we've already had, I think we're up to about 150 different sites have been testing this, and we've only had this available for the last month or so. So there's a lot of interest in this kind of technology and getting that wider use of video production using the internet. So.
That's awesome. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to even the wider adaptation and use of that technology. And
absolutely.
Dan, while I have you, I have to ask, because we talked about a lot of products shipped and a lot of products being released. The thing our dealers want to know most about is the new 4K family of products and the stuff that you've introduced between IBC and NAB New York and some of these recent trade shows. So what are we looking at for the 4K family?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of our products, we spent quite a bit of time getting all of these cameras and products out to market. And look, obviously, we want to send everything out as soon as possible. The really exciting thing for us is that we've now got those cameras shipping. One thing we haven't mentioned yet is the keyboard controller as well. That's shipping in the next couple of weeks.
Great.
As far as the 4K family, that's getting really close now as well. So we're expecting, it may not make it into the Christmas period, end of the year, but it's going to be really close. So from a hardware perspective, we're done. We're just lining up on the manufacturing side. The really exciting thing, I think, with this 4K family is just the feature set you get for the value or the price in there. So looking at these products, the two single channel devices, which are HDMI and SDI, 12G SDI, those guys really give you some pretty unique features in the market. So firstly, they're all 4K 60. So it's HDMI 2.0 on the HDMI version, 12G SDI on the SDI. And they also have, you'll notice on there, they've all got SDI and HDMI connectors. So They have a built-in cross converter. We've got a 12G cross converter built in. They're also encoders and decoders, so you can run it in encode mode or decode mode, whatever you like. But the big guy, the 4K quad, that one we're really excited about, a lot of applications.
Absolutely.
Quad, it's a really tricky one to name because quad could be perceived as quad link for 4K 60, but it goes well beyond that. It's actually 4 channels of 12G SDI. So this thing can run 4 separate cameras at 4K 60 and convert them in real time into NDI. But they're also bidirectional converters, so bidirectional ports. So you can run a couple of those as encoders, a couple of those as decoders. It can really become like the heart of your NDI I/O within any live production. So things like the new TriCaster, which is NDI only, this is a really great option to add on.
That's a lot of video signal that you shoved into the pipe there.
There is a lot going on in there, yes. So in fact, actually, to sort of talk to your point about shipping, one of the real reasons why it's taken us a little bit of time to get this thing to market is actually the thermal management, the heat. Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of video going on there.
Sure.
If you 4 times 4K 60 happening in one little box, what we want to do is make sure that thing doesn't overheat. There's a lot going on.
Right.
And so that did actually take us a long time to get that thermal management right. But we're really proud of the solution. It works extremely well under pressure, under high heat environments. So.
And that's great. And you're designing it as a converter that fits in with your converter family. So we can't expect a 3RU unit with a bunch of fans in there to help dissipate it.
Well, that's right. This thing is, it's the size. It's about the footprint of your phone. So it's a tiny little thing. It's going to be put in, it's a drop box at a stage or something like that. So we can't have these fans screaming to keep things cool. So it's been a challenge, no doubt. But we are pretty proud of where it's at, and it really isn't far off now. So you'll start to see those things roll out. We want to get everything announced and shipping, and kind of clear the slates for 2020 and get things really exciting for them. So.
That's awesome. We're really looking forward to that. Before we let you go, we want to talk about the P200 Selfie program. I saw you guys really pushing this on Facebook and Instagram, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. So what is happening with the P200 Selfie?
Yeah, it's really cool. So when we first started shipping these, the P200s, it was around about the start of July. We were so excited. We wanted people to send us a selfie, send us a picture with your P200 because we just wanted to see them out in the wild.
Sure.
And it has, as you say, Jim, it's taken on a life of itself. We've got people all over the world. You can see people with stacks of them where you can barely even see the person doing selfies. And we've got people in Russia all over the place that are getting them out there. And we really like seeing where people use these devices. But I think it also helps as a dealer to say, hey, look at this. There's people all over the place that are using these things. We totally understand BirdDog's a new brand for PTZ cameras, but when you combine the quality of the components we put in there, the quality of the image, and then you can reference customers that have been using it, it starts to build a pretty strong story that, hey, these things are actually really worthwhile considering.
No, it's great. And if you look up the hashtag, the P200 Selfie, a lot of the initial images started as a lot of Broadfield dealers showing the inventory that we're bringing here into the U.S. Then it's turned into their customers sharing their applications and their use. And again, I think there's a P200 camera that's been out there in the wild that is the same camera included in at least 3 or 4 selfies.
I don't know if that counts then to that, but I'm not sure. But hey, I'll take any P200 selfie we can get. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. We got to post one in the box, one without the box, and everything else in between. Dan, you mentioned one of the reasons for this P200 selfie program is to be able to see the applications out in the wild. So one of the things I challenged my team to do is to pull up this video that's a testimonial to the BirdDog NDI workflow. So I want to leave our dealers with this before we let you go today.
Hi, I'm Dora Halderson, video producer for Game Reactor, and we are currently at a launch event for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, where we have been hired to do a live stream. Now, normally when we do these live streams, it's enough to get in one source, because then we have one computer that's, well, spectating the others, but we couldn't do this time. So on this stage over here, we're gonna have 10 people playing, and we're gonna need all those sources into our live stream computer. Over here, there's gonna be a stage where we're gonna have a camera, where we're also gonna need the source in to basically where this camera is right now, where our live stream setup is. Now, when we were faced with this, we had the option of going old school and buying a bunch of SDI converters, converting all those HDMI signals to SDI and then get a more powerful computer to handle it, or embrace the future and go with NDI, which is what we did. So we teamed up with BirdDog, and so we're gonna put one BirdDog Mini on each of the consoles over there and one on the camera over there into a router, and so one cable coming over to our live streaming setup, which is gonna solve a lot of headaches. And with the addition of being able to view in proxy, and once we cut to the individual source, it goes full HD. That gives us a lot of sway in terms of the computer that we're using to edit, and we can do a lot of other resource-heavy stuffs besides just taking in the video sources. But we're about to set up, so let's see some setup shots.
Dan, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that video. Dan? Dan? Oh, there we go. He's back. I hear him now.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry. We've got a bunch of different customer uses. So if anyone has any customer that comes up that wants to get some confidence around a certain type of use case, there's every chance that we've got that somewhere in the world. We've got installations with as many as 150 bird dogs. We've got really mobile installations for education where they need to set up in 15 minutes. There's all sorts of different reference sites. So we're happy to give any advice we can and give any comfort to customers they need.
That's awesome. The promise we make to our dealers is that they'll like doing business, excuse me, they'll like doing business with Broadfield because Broadfield makes it easy to do business. One of the reasons we like being the distributor for BirdDog products is because you guys make it easy to do NDI. And the BirdDog family of NDI products is really something that our dealers are sinking their teeth into and putting into more and more installations. So Dan, I gotta thank you again for joining us today, for sharing all this great shipping news with our dealers, and keep up the great work on the products. We're really excited and looking forward to the 4K stuff in 2020.
Thanks very much. We're really excited as well, and we really appreciate all your support and all the dealers' support in the USA as well. So thanks very much.
Absolutely. Until next time, join Broadfield every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Dan, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers. So call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.